today I'm going to show you how to make this corner desk unit. It has 3 opening drawers and a large sort of storage area over here, and this is part of the Craft Shed interior series, so I've done it to fit exactly in there. This area I've made a lot larger than it probably would be to fit the desk, but that's because I've got plans for what I sort of want to store inside. Now this you'll see as we go along, but this section is so easy to make. It's really just a box with the plinth on it to match the drawer side, but you could make that narrower here if you wanted to, if you're going to be putting this in sort of like a miniature office or study. And then you would just also alter this top piece, but as we go along you'll see how easy that would be to do. So I'm going to bring the shed in now and show you how that fits inside. That will go over there in that corner. Again, it's a nice simple project, quite quick and easy. So again, I've put the cutting list down in the description, and that's what I'll be doing from now on, so that's easier for you to just copy and print off in Word or whatever program you have. Coming up is a list of the tools you'll need, and then we'll get started. Okay, so you'll need a suitable craft wood. I would recommend something like a beche or basswood, both of which are available in my Etsy shop. A craft knife. This is a Swan Morton knife which takes a size 10A blade and will cut wood comfortably up to the thickness of 3mm or 1/8 of an inch. A steel rule, obviously for measuring and for cutting the wood along with your craft knife. A nice sharp pencil for accurate marking. An eraser. A suitable wood glue. And as you know by now, my favourite is this Gorilla wood glue. Bonds really quickly, so you don't have to wait around waiting to attach the next part. Cocktail sticks, which I use to apply the glue and for removing excess glue from along the joins. Mini clamps for holding small parts together. Scissors and masking tape for the same job, but just for slightly larger areas. A pin drill to drill the holes needed for the drawer knobs. And then you'll need 3 wooden drawer knobs, 2.5mm or 3mm, so up to 1/8 of an inch. Or you might like to use brass pull handles or any sort of handles or knobs you might already have in your collection. A couple of grades of sandpaper, a medium and a soft grade. And then your choice of wood dye or paint. And again, I'm going to be using this wood dye. Now you can find videos on my channel for cutting wood, tips and advice on cutting wood, and also on using the wood dye, which you might find helpful for this project. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so begin by cutting the pieces that we need for the main body of the unit, so for the drawer side and the little shelf area, but not the drawers, and then we'll construct this piece first, then we'll remeasure the drawer openings and cut the pieces needed for the drawers. That's just because any sort of misplacement of any of these pieces, especially the shelf pieces, will affect the size of the drawer opening, and then the measurements I've given won't work. So the measurements I've given are just for a guide, so always construct, remeasure and then cut the pieces you need. So we're going to begin by drawing lines across the back and the side pieces. So we don't have to do that 3 times. I'm going to join them together with a little bit of masking tape. So just place them so you've got a straight sort of top line there, and then just use a little bit of tape across each join like that, and then turn that onto its side. And we'll begin making the measurements from this, what will become the top edge. So the first measurement is 15mm, and that's 19/32 of an inch. So just do a little pencil mark there. And then 34mm, which is 1 11/32. And then 54mm, which is 2 1/8. Do those same pencil marks on the opposite side, So 15, 34 and 54 millimeters, 19 30-seconds, 1 and 11 30-seconds, and 2 and 1/8. And then turn the piece back and join those lines up. Always place the ruler just below the pencil mark, and that allows for the thickness of the pencil tip, which should be nice and sharp anyway. And the second one, and then you can turn it upside down to do that bottom one so that your rule doesn't tip off the end. Like that. And then you can remove those pieces of tape. And then we're going to make a little pencil mark on each of the side pieces to help place the plinth, and that's going to be 3 millimeters back from what will become this front edge and just below that bottom line. So make a little pencil mark 3 millimeters at the top and bottom below that line, and that's 1/8 of an inch. And again, just join that up, and then you want to do the same on the other piece but on the opposite side. So 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch, join that up, and then take one of your 4 pieces, the top, the bottom and the shells, which are the same, all the same size. And the reason I advise to cut with the grain along the shortest edge is just that the grained edge of the wood is always a bit neater than the not grained edge, and as that will be visible, always have the nicest edge at the front. So take that, and from what will be the front edge, we want to do another pencil line 3 millimeters from that edge. So 3 millimeters, 1/8 of an inch, mark at either side, and then join that up. And then that will become the bottom piece. So just pop that to one side. I'll just put these away, and then we can begin construction. So I've got some glue here on a piece of card. I'm using a cocktail stick to apply it, and you want to begin by applying it to one long edge of the back piece, on the left hand edge, so we need our pencil marks facing inwards. Lay that on your worktop, and then just attach that side piece so that the top and bottom are flush, and then your pencil lines will be straight too. One of those lines went over the top of the tape, so it's broken there, but that's okay, I've got enough to line up that bottom piece. So press them together just for a moment, and that's just to allow the glue time to sort of take, not to set, but just to sort of start getting sticky. And then you can remove the excess glue from along the join using another cocktail stick. And that's what I like about this glue, the Gorilla Glue, so much, is that it just sort of takes quite quickly, so you can just get on with the next piece, fit in the next piece, without having to wait too long. So take one of your pieces that are the same size, and this is going to go at the top here. So you want to apply glue to one long and one short edge. And that needs to be flush at the top of both of those pieces and push right into that corner. So pop it where you think it should go, and then you can just use your finger just to press that so that it's nice and flush at the top, and then pull the side piece in to meet it, and that will square everything off. Before the glue begins to take, you've got time to sort of wiggle that about a bit if you need to, just to make sure it's all completely flush along that top. Oops. Push that out of place there. And then again, hold it together for a moment for the glue to take. If your piece sticks to the worktop, always just push it along rather than picking it up, so it will just fall apart. And then we can attach the next piece, and again this will sit above the pencil line and go right into that corner. So one long edge and one short edge for the glue application. And then pop that in so it's just above the line, so you can just see the line below your piece. And I'm lining up the back piece first, and then you can just pull that side piece in to meet it. And once we've put all the pieces together, we'll apply some masking tape which will pull the whole thing together and square it all up. So just holding that into place for a moment. Next piece, again, will sit above the line. Just noticed I've got a bit of a rough edge there. Just sand that piece again. Always in the one direction, never rocking it along the paper. And then this bottom piece, we want the pencil line to be underneath, and again it will sit above that bottom pencil line. Again, remove that excess glue, and from inside so that the drawer will go in nicely. Okay, and then turn the piece onto its side, and we'll attach the plinth now, again so it sits just behind that pencil line, like that. So again, the glue, one long and one short edge. I'm getting the side piece lined up first, and then bringing that bottom piece down to meet the long edge. Hold it together. Now my clean cocktail stick has now fallen into the glue, so just wipe that off and remove that excess glue. And we're going to be sanding this as well before we apply the wood dye, but it's always a good idea to remove it while the glue is still tacky. It just comes away easier then. You've seen the piece coming together now, and now we want to apply glue to all these exposed edges on this side, and we can attach our remaining side piece. So lay that down like that, and press the remaining side into place so that your top bit is flush, the bottoms are lined up, and then you can just have a quick peek inside to make sure that those pencil lines are sitting, or the shells rather, are sitting just above those pencil lines. Carefully manoeuvre it all into position and squeeze it together till the glue begins to take. Just manoeuvring all the pieces there into position. I'm just going to put that down and get some masking tape just to pop over that side. So I'm just going to pop a piece right over the side like that onto the top and bottom, pressing nice and firmly, and then I want to put a couple of pieces right across the front just to hold the whole thing nice and tightly together. That side as well. Press it all together, and then that can be left to dry. Okay, so whilst the glue is drying on our drawer section, we're going to begin construction of the shelf part of the corner desk. And again, we're going to begin by drawing a line across the back and the side pieces. And once again, so we don't have to do that 3 times, I'm joining them together to make sure you've got a nice straight top line. And then just pop the masking tape on there. That. And we want this line to be 7mm from what will be the bottom edge, and again that's for our plinth placement. It's quite difficult to say that. So 7mm or 9/32 of an inch from the bottom, and let me just check that inch measurement because, yeah, 9/32 of an inch. I work in millimetres myself, so the inch one's a bit foreign to me, so always have to remind myself of those fractions. And then draw a line across to join those up. Then you can move the masking tape. This is really simple to construct this piece, and I only wanted one shelf because I want to be able to fit some boxes under there for display purposes. So that's why I just put the one shelf in. If you wanted another shelf, of course you could put one in. So you just cut another piece to the same size as these two pieces. That's the top and the shelf piece. And then you could just slot that in the middle. Draw your line as well if you want to put one in the middle there. You can have that at whatever height you want, but I want quite a big open space in there, like I say, for some boxes. So I'm just going to refresh my glue on there. That's getting a bit dry again. Like that. And then begin by applying a line of glue to the side of the back piece, on the outer edge. Put that on your worktop and press the side against it. Hold it together. Make sure the top and bottom edges of each piece are flush or in alignment. Remove any glue, not too much there. And then we're going to attach the top piece so it sits in there, right into that back corner. So apply glue to one long and one short edge. Get it the right way around, and then that should sit right up at the top of that back piece. Use your finger again to make sure that you've got a nice flush edge along there, and then you can bring that side piece in to meet it and square it all up. Again, I'm just checking that it's flush along that top. Press it all together like that. A bit of a gap there, press that all in. And again, we'll be putting masking tape on so it will hold it all together. So if any gaps, they should all be sort of squashed together. And then we're just going to put this bottom piece down here. Oops, forgot to put the line on. So just push that to one side. And again. Right, let's do... I should have done this before construction, so let's see if we can do it now. So I want to make a little pencil mark 3mm there from the bottom edge. I'd normally do that there and then join it up, but I'm just going to do it by eye like that. So as long as that's 3mm at the bottom there. Sorry, I should have done this before I put those pieces together. And then we want it 3mm on the other side piece as well. I can do it properly this time. And then join that up. And then on this piece, 3mm from the front, long edge. And that's 1/8 of an inch. And then we want, when we attach this, we want the pencil line underneath, as with the draw section. So one short, one long edge, apply your glue to. And then this wants to sit above that line. So I'm getting the back piece lined up first, and then pull the side in to meet it. And again, push it right into that bottom corner, so we've got no gaps. Press it together while it dries. If you knock it out of place like I just did, you've got time to push it back in before the glue begins to take. And our tape will pull all this together. And then remove the excess glue. Inside bit as well. And then turn it on its side, and we can attach the plinth, and that's going to sit just behind that pencil line. And then again apply to one short and one long edge. And just sit that along that side line first, and then press it against the bottom piece. Again, just behind that line so the line's just visible. And then we want to apply glue to these outside exposed edges. And we can attach the remaining side piece. Don't forget to put a little bit along the side of the plinth. And then lay that down. Press the side piece into place. Make sure the top is flush with the top of the side piece. And again, this is quite flimsy, so don't apply pressure in the middle there. Try and apply pressure down the bottom. And then you can use the line there just to make sure the shelf and the plinth is in the right place. And press it together. I'm going to get some tape again and put that right over that side. So I'll put a piece over the front like that. And again, pull in firmly but not too tight so that it collapses. And I'll put a piece over the back as well. And again, I'll put a piece right across the front. On the bottom edge. Pull it nice and firm, pull all the pieces together, and you can see the glue coming out there where it's pulling it together. And one final piece along that top. There. Okay, so once you've allowed enough time for the glue to dry, you can remove your masking tape, and then I've sanded both of these pieces on all sides again. I've already done it off camera, but just to show you what I did, sandpaper flat on the surface, and then you just go around in circular motions on all edges, top and bottom. You can do the sides as well, and then you've got a nice flush piece there. And then I've remeasured each of the drawer openings and cut the drawer pieces accordingly. So to construct the drawer, you begin by applying glue along each side of the base. Pop that on your work surface and just attach those sides. Push them into place like that. Keep them as upright as you can. Oops. Hold it into place again while the glue just begins to take. And then just push that along your work surface rather than picking it up. Straighten that side. And then this one's been drying, so now I can handle it without it falling apart. And then you apply glue to the front and back edges. Like that. And then attach the front and back pieces, keeping the sides sort of flush with the sides of the front and back pieces. Just pop that on there, just making a nice little neat sort of box. Very carefully just press that all together, making sure these sides are flush. Any overhanging pieces in the drawer won't slide in. And then that can be left to dry completely. Push that in there. And then this one is completely dry, and again I did this off camera, but I sanded all edges so you've got a nice flush drawer. And then again, if you're going to attach drawer knobs that you want to be painting, you can make a pencil mark in the centre of the drawer front. So measure crossways first and just make a little pencil mark in the centre, and like that, and then measure downwards like that, and you can make a little dot, and then I just like to erase the pencil line. And then get your drill and this has got a 1.5mm bit in it, which is just slightly smaller than the little sort of stem of the draw knob, the bit that sort of pokes through. But I'll show you what I do to get around that. And I'd rather make the hole smaller than too big, as you'll be able to see it when the draw knob's in place. So I'm just supporting the draw with my little finger here. Don't push too hard when you're drilling, as you may split the front of the draw. So just try and be patient with it. And you'll hear when it goes through like that. And then I just sort of twist it around like that, just to widen the hole a little bit. Like that. And then get your draw knob. If you're attaching like a brass knob or something, or you could just do that after you've painted or varnished or wood dyed your piece. Check that the knob fits in nice and snugly like that, and then you can remove it and just put a little tiny dab of glue just inside the hole. You don't need to spread it all the way around, but there like that. Just remove the excess. Pop that back in, and then press it so that it's pressed sort of flat against the draw. Might need to wiggle it a little bit. And then just use a tiny piece of sandpaper to sand away the sort of wood that the drill poked out in there. Remove any glue from around the edge of the draw knob, or the stain or varnish won't take over it. And then just give it a quick sand to prepare for finishing. So complete all of the draws, and then the piece will be ready for joining together. Okay, so we're now going to join the two pieces together to create the corner desk, and we're going to use glue and masking tape. So cut a piece of masking tape that is, I don't know, probably about 1 inch longer on either side than the top piece, and just stick it across that top piece in the centre there. Just turn that around because I want a longer piece on there, so you don't want your tape to overhang the units, so just long enough so you've got a good bit to stick. And then apply glue along each edge of the top piece. You might just need to pull the masking tape back to do that, like that. And we're doing it this way just because it's going to be quite a sort of flimsy join. There's not a lot to sort of hold it into place, so that's why we're using both. Okay, and then the first bit you want to glue along the top side on the right hand side of your draw unit. I suppose if you wanted your corner going the other way, you can do that, but if you're copying the shed, then it'll be this right hand side. And push the tape down, and then just use your finger to make sure that this piece is flush with the top of that side, and push it into place. And then what you can do is just lay it down on your surface like that, and push it down against the tape. And the reason I'm doing it upright first is just so we know which position we're gluing in. And then just carefully bring that back round, and then this wants to go against this so that the edge of the top piece is right at the edge of this shelf piece. And this is a little bit easier, so you can pull your tape in to pull it against that edge. And that's like that. And again, you can just very carefully turn it over and press the tape down. And we can leave the masking tape there now, because we're going to put a top piece over all of these. I'll left some masking tape there. Like that. So leave that to dry, and then we'll shape the corner desk top piece. Okay, so now that's had time to sort of dry off a little bit, we're going to shape the top piece. And the reason I'm doing it like this and not in sort of two pieces is so that we haven't got a join. Okay, so this will fit, as that's the back wall and that's the side, this will fit flush against the back and the side. And then the size I've done it is so you've got a 1mm overhang here. I'm just sort of using my finger to make sure that's all flush. And a 1mm overhang at this side. And then if I sort of keep that in place and turn it over, let's do it like that. Make sure you're keeping them right sort of flush into this back corner. And then we want a little bit of an overhang at the front edge as well, so along here and here. So holding it in place, or you can use a bit of masking tape if you want to, make a little pencil mark 1mm from the front of the drawer unit at this end, and the same here. And I'm saying 1mm, and obviously I'm not using a ruler, I'm just doing it by eye, so just a tiny amount. And the same there, and then a line also going that way there. And if we haven't got those exact, and they're not going to be out by much, we can sort of sand it to be level. Okay, so move that, put that to one side, and then take your rule and go across those two lines there. Ruler just below the pencil line again. You can go all the way across, that's alright. And then turn the piece and go across those two lines. Again, rule just below. And go across like that. And obviously this is the piece we want to get rid of. Okay, so we'll go across, actually take your knife and just do a little sort of nick in that corner, and that just helps the knife to stay on track, then it won't go past where we don't want it to. So I'm going along there, this is the cut line, and then along there, and this is the cut line. I'm just going right through with the very tip of the knife there, just making like a little L shape. I'm just trying to position it so you can get the light shining through and see that I've gone through there. Okay, and then it doesn't really matter which edge you start on for this sort of purpose, but line up your rule with that little cut you've just made. Just go along lightly first, nice light score, let me get into shot there. Make a little slit at that end as well, doesn't slit the wood, and then go again till you cut through, and then do the shorter edge. Nice light score, cut through at this end, and then cut until you're through. That piece can be saved for another project. And there's our top piece. So again, flush in that corner. And the overhangs aren't out by much, if anything, so I'm not going to make any adjustments to that. If you look underneath, probably got a little bit more here than I have there, but I'm actually just going to leave that. And then just because we've got this edge here that runs in the wrong direction of the grain, I'm just going to sand that over. So just hold in the piece of sandpaper, and this is a 500 grade at an angle, go along, and I'm just doing it really gently because this breaks quite easily. When you've got a narrow piece in the direction of the grain, it can split quite easily, so just be really gentle. And do that on both sides of the wood as well. And go along the sort of outer edges as well. Again on both sides. Okay, that's now ready to be attached. So just apply glue directly onto the top of your desk. And we're going to, came out a bit too much there. We're going to leave that masking tape in place. Give it a bit of extra support. So just spread the glue in. I've got far too much here. It's because I just cleaned the nozzle out. So it just came pouring out like that. Let's get rid of some of that. Make sure that gets right to the edges. Take a little bit more off there. Like that. Off there. I'm being naughty again, wiping it off with my fingers. You shouldn't really do that. And then put the top piece into place so this back corner is flush. So flush along this side and flush along that back, and make sure that that piece is flush along there as well, then you'll know you're square. Sort of carefully press that down. Keep sort of running your finger around the edges to make sure it's staying where it should. And then I'm going to grab some masking tape. Again, I'm going to be using masking tape and clamps. I'll start by putting a piece right over that back corner like that, and then I'll come round and do this end. It's already trying to sort of sit up there. Make sure you push the back bit square and stick that down nice and firm. That. I'm going to use some masking tape around this end as well. There's a couple of pieces on there. I'll put a piece down the back of this here. Again, a bit overkill, but just to get as much on there as you can. And then you're not going to have any gaps. A little bit there. And then for the rest of it I can use clamps. So let's grab some. Put some at the back here. Might be able to fit one more in there as well. Under there. I mean, if you can fit them in, then just keep adding them. I'll put another one round the back there. Can I get one more in at the front? Look at that poor thing. There. And then just sort of check that everything's touching where it should be. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that to dry now. And I've done the drawers, and then it will be time to add the colour. And here is the completed corner desk. And I think that looks really good. Plenty of space in there for display. Plenty of space on the top as well. Get lots of miniatures on there. I'm now going to bring the shed in. We'll just put that piece into place. That's going to go along there. Move that forward a bit. And that's really sort of coming together, isn't it? So we've got a little table coming up to go here on this side wall. I'll be doing a little wall shelf there, and we'll perhaps have a unit here as well. We'll fit in as many sort of furniture pieces as we can, and as long as the pieces are in scale, which obviously these are, it's not going to look too crowded. And then of course lots and lots of miniatures, which I've made a start on. So I'll be adding a few tutorials very soon. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please do subscribe to the channel, and if you could give the video a like, that would be appreciated too. And also, if you like making doll's house furniture and miniatures, you might want to have a look at my books. I've got 4 of them now. My latest book has just been released within the last couple of days. I'll pop links to the books below. They're all available to purchase from Amazon. And for now, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again soon.